it again?
Check.
Alright. I'm gonna turn you up louder. I just don't want to make it go like. Say something now.
Sound check.
That's good. So I'm gonna start recording that. You live?
Yeah, we live, baby.
Yeah, some good team. That's it, legalize the ganja. You know how me feel about the ganja? How you feel, man? Yeah, tell ya. Okay, listen. I love the ganja. I love the street. I love the fire. Fire to believe. Smoking on the ganja. The ganja.
Tribute to the great Bob Marley. Top of the morning. Everybody, it's your boy. The elephant in the room. And it's the wake up show. We gotta start the show off with blowing some of this good gas. We got a lot of shit to talk about today, y'all. I want to thank everybody who's tuning in. Tag a friend. My first 50 viewers. Make sure y'all drop your Ashley, your Cash App. You win a chance to win a free $25 today, man. Maybe you go out and have some lunch or something on me. Live from the hut, man. Light up the ganja. It's been a real good morning. Real good morning. Shout out to Calypso to keep me hydrated. Election 2021, legalized it, so I really got no choice but to, indulge in the things that I love. Nerve bites, they banging. So there we go, y'all. Top of the morning. Some good weed right here. Excuse me if I get a little stirred up. We got a lot to talk about today. It's 11 o'clock and it's you with your boy, the elephant in the room with the wake up show. And this is my podcast, Say What the Fuck I Want. Yes, and that's exactly what the podcast is about, y'all. I say what the fuck I want, when I want it, and how I want to say it. So we got a lot going on in the United States of America today. And we can start off with this shit that's going on down here at the Capitol. I think we can all agree, in the midst of, this Black Lives Matter movement, and, I hear a lot of protesting, and I see a lot of people posting and commenting on what's going on. What if this was some black people? Everybody would be dead. And hey, man, it's the fucking world that we live in. And it's sad because I really don't like to touch on politics too much. I'm not a politician. I don't know too much about it. I mean, when election comes around, we try to find out enough about the election and what each one of these politicians is bringing to the table, to get our vote. But I see, a lot of people have been motivated by the stimulus and these stimulus checks and, this free money. Nothing wrong with free money. Nothing wrong with free money at all. But these same people are the same people who are calling for President Trump's head right now. And I'm trying to get an understanding of this. I'm trying to get an understanding of how it is that we think when we elect a man at some point in time. Whoever did it, whoever went out and voted and said, yes, I want him, I seen a lot of people saying thank you to Trump just a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago, when the bill was signed for the stimulus and all of that. And now everybody wants me to be dead. I don't get it. You know, as a black man here in America, yes, I completely understand about the social injustice that we talk about on a constant daily basis. But why are we talking about what ifs? I think that's the biggest question. Why are we talking about what ifs? If there was some black people who tried to run into goddamn McDonald's, they would have been shot. Yeah, probably. You know, we have a pretty bad reputation, and you know, most of it is due to our own ways, actions, speech, or whatever. You know, the way that we carry ourselves. We be thugging. Y'all know how we do this shit. But you know, for the not so average mind, and you know, the people who want to think a little bit deeper, the thing that has been like the most interesting and intriguing to me is why now? What the hell is going on behind the scenes, America, that we have to look for? What are we prepared for? I mean, I've seen some of the whistleblowers, you know, on their blogs, and you know, some of the things that they're talking about in, on their shows. You know, there's a great big distraction coming along. Well, what is the distraction? We're all familiar with 9/11 and what was going on with the 9/11, you know, that being a big distraction, and you know, people who reference the Patriot Act being signed afterwards, and you know, the Americans giving up their freedom for liberty, or giving up liberty for freedom, or you know, something of that sort. I don't know, but what are we preparing for? Well, my mind, it works on a different plane than most people. So you know, I'm not one to turn my ear down, or you know, turn my attention down to some information that everybody isn't always privy to. It's an interesting thing that our government has signed and passed, you know what I mean, when it comes to our NASA space stations and all of that. Now, I know some of y'all is probably going to say, this motherfucker's high already. Well, no, I'm not. I'm on my way there, and probably about halfway through this shit, I'm going to be stoned. I'm going to be fried. However, some information, it was sent across my desk, and you know, I took a look at a video that was very, very interesting, and it was from a NASA space worker, a space program worker, so to speak, from Israel, who said that he wanted to shed some light on some things that were going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. So what I want to do is play some of his clippings of what he was saying, and y'all just listen and pay attention, and you know, you can always chime in to my live.
Aliens exist, and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Now, I know what some of y'all is thinking. Did this motherfucker just play a clip about aliens? I did. I'm one of the people who happen to believe that fucking Outkast and Erykah Badu make perfectly good sense with a lot of the shit that they have going on in their life, in their music career, and yes, I believe in extraterrestrial activity. Now, what does that mean? Do I mean that there's some green Martian with big black eyes and, you know, two antennas going to come down in a, you know, teacup saucer type spaceship and say, hey, let me fuck your brain? No, I don't believe that. I believe that these beings are way more sophisticated and intelligent than you and I. I think they're way more superior to what we consider to be human beings. Us, you and I. The average American, yeah, them. They have probably walked amongst us. They're probably some of our bosses. They're probably co-workers. They probably go to school with our children. It's just a thought. in the midst of that, though, you know, when we can have someone who is a public figure, someone who has served in the government, who's had some type of position in office or some sort, who decides to come out and say, hey, there's some shit going on and you guys need to know about it. We need to pay attention. I mean, think about it. If the local neighborhood, we won't call anyone any names this morning, but female or gossiper, walked down the street this morning and said, hey, there's a fucking army tank at the end of the street because they're trying to find Tanisha's baby dad because he just shot 60 motherfuckers and he kidnapped his mom and the dog bit her in the ass. We believe this shit. We'll run to Facebook, we'll run to Instagram, we'll run to Snapchat, Twitter, you know, to investigate. I think this information is, you know, worth investigating.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim
30 fucking years.
is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years. Not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria.
Wow. Is that some unbelievable shit? I think it's pretty believable. And for anybody who has, you know, the contemplative mind, you know what I mean? Just sit and think. Some of the evidence that we might hear this guy give us a little deeper in this interview, it's some shit to think about. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back on the flip side of our little 30-minute commercial break, and we're going to give you guys the rest of this interview from the Israeli space worker. Yeah, that's it. It's your boy, the elephant in the room. Say what the fuck I want podcast. We get right back to you. You know. With that shit. Welcome back to the Say What The Fuck I Was podcast. It's your boy, the elephant in the room. Mr. Did he just say that? Yes, the fuck I did. So we left off and we were talking about aliens, pretty much. Do they exist? Some people don't give a fuck. I'm one of the people who do. We started with a little interview from a space worker, NASA head of something. Forgive me. However, we're going to continue with the interview. We're going to hear some more of his information, and we're going to talk about it.
Well, the retired general said the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. So far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago, he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the US Armed Forces.
Wow. Holy shit. So, our fucking president signed an order that has allowed us to have a fucking Star Wars troopers branch of the army, of our fucking military? Are you kidding me? That's pretty deep. I mean, and again, I can see how some people may be skeptical about this type of information. Oh, well, why would this guy wait until he's 87? Well, fucking, he just said it. I have nothing else to live for. I'm about to die. If I tell you this fucking information and I'm 30 years old, the likelihood is I won't make it to be 30 years old in a day. This man has served over 30 years. 30 years. Policing our air, policing our stars, our moon, sun, and all that other shit. And he's saying, hey, your president has just given you guys another branch of the military. And anybody who's not tuned into the podcast, via Anchor or, Apple iPod or YouTube, you can, chime in through the fucking Instagram Live. I'd like to hear from some of our U.S. military. How do you feel about this? How does this change military training? I mean, are we now training people to fight in space? Could you imagine that shit? I mean, we have families who are torn right here in the United States of America because they send our troops to fucking police Japan or France or some shit like that. And now you tell a fucking wife and their 3 children, hey, daddy's going to the fucking moon. You kidding me? Has to feel like a fucking prison sentence to a kid. The thing that I'm wondering now for us, though, how are we preparing for, like, whatever is the fuck to come? And I mean this in so many different ways. You might see me sitting up here with this big-ass spliff and saying, hey, you're not healthy. But this is a time that we probably all should be needing to get healthy. If we're talking about intergalactical type shit and the possibility of a war or something, you probably need to be in tip-top shape. So all of you fat motherfuckers, you know what I mean, who just can't stop posting food and, want to show your rolls and all that other shit, it's time to start posting some fucking healthy snacks. You fucking bodybuilding, self-absorbed, narcissistic, you guys. It's time that you stop taking selfies and start training some of the fat fuckers who are sitting on the couch. My twerk queens, I don't think shaking your ass is going to help us win a war against a goddamn alien unless he wants to fuck. So, if that's the case, shake your ass all you want to. But if he's not worried about your pussy and he wants to fight, maybe you should try some Tybo. My guys that are in the hood, the gangsters, the thugs, the trappers. Maybe it's time that we stop killing one another and start learning how to shoot a fucking alien. Who knows? It's very, very interesting when you think about this shit. Like, how have we fucking prepared? Like, obviously. Even educational-wise. If a fucking UFO flew down here today and wiped out half the United States of America, how would you survive? I think so much time is wasted and concentrated on absorbing certain types of information, the wrong information. And not enough time is put into learning how to do shit. If a fucking missile hits my house right now and just fucks up everything, I'd be shit out of luck. Hopefully I can find a fucking tent. But I have a friend, few of them. A fucking missile hits their house, the fucking house may not even disappear. Or, they'll go down in their bunker. If they lose electricity or water, they know how to do that shit. How are we prepared? I mean, this is shit that we really have to think about. I see a lot of us, we spend a lot of time, social media platforms, and we're wasting a lot of time with distractions and being unprepared. I don't want my viewers to forget, my first few 50 viewers, do not forget to drop your cash app, your cash tag. My first 50 viewers, you are eligible to win a free $25 a day via the Say What the Fuck I Want podcast show in the crew. Yeah, you guys had lunch on me today, Friday. Happy birthday to my son, Jasir. He turned 1 yesterday. Yeah. Probably think I'm fucking too old to keep having kids, but hey, it is what it is. Somebody's got to fuck the twerkers if the aliens aren't. But it's crazy. Something for you guys to think about. We're moving along. I want to move on to some different shit. I want to talk about you fucking Black Lives Matter fanatics. No, this is no disrespect to your movement. But if we're about to go against aliens, I think all fucking lives matter at this point. We're going to need bodies. You know what I mean? But seriously though, on a serious note, I totally agree with a lot of the things that are brought up about social injustice. Being somebody who's been incarcerated before myself. Yes, I've been there, I've done time. I know exactly what the fuck it's like. To be treated like an animal and, have all your rights snatched away from you from decisions that you may have made or whatever. But I'm looking out here in the world and, when this topic of Black Lives Matter, when it comes up, I always think about how many individuals are thinking about themselves. I'm starting to learn, like in my, older ages in life, getting a little more mature. Fucking change starts with yourself. Like a lot of these movements, they're cool. But let's look at the structure of, some of our households. And that's something that we're going to get back into on the other side. We're going to take a small commercial break and we'll get back to you. Alright, that's your boy, Elephant in the Room. Say What the Fuck I Want podcast. Live from the hut.
When it comes to working out, you don't take any shortcuts. Finally, there's a treadmill that doesn't either. Introducing the F80 treadmill from Soul Fitness.
Police did abandon a position rather than lean into a physical clash. That's a tactical choice. But even that, I want you to know tonight, contrasts with recent scenes like this in a far less vital national security zone. This was not the U.S. Capitol, but rather a scene on the streets of L.A. where officers were engaging extremely physically to escalate and hit and strike Black Lives Matter protesters, hitting them with batons, shooting projectiles when they were reportedly standing there with their hands up. That's
how some officers were dealing with, as you saw there, peaceful protesters in the light of day who were nowhere near the vice president or the entire Congress. It looked like state-sanctioned violence, a contrast to this treatment of Trump supporters who weren't peaceful, who breached federal property, who threatened officers, and worse. This is where the double standard goes beyond some of that big picture structure I mentioned, whether at a policy level the Capitol was properly staffed and protected. And we get into some of these personal interactions. Here's an officer assisting someone during these criminal riots, pouring water in their eyes to reduce the impact of the tear gas that the same officers themselves dispersed.
Welcome back. It's your boy there, went in the room, and we're right back to the Say What the Fuck I Want live podcast. You hear it? And yes, I get it. I get it. But clearly, I want people to understand that protesting in certain acts of violence right now will not be any type of benefit to the Black Lives Matter movement. And you might be saying, well, why is that? Why is that? Well, clearly, if 100, we're not even going to say as many people that stormed the Capitol the other day. If 100 black people tried to storm the Capitol, it would probably be 100 black people dead. Right. We've established that. Okay? So if you cannot win a physical fight with what we consider the man, the enemy, the government, whatever the fuck you want to call it, alright? It's insanity to keep trying to physically beat these people. You know why we can't beat these people? There are more of them. They have more money. They have more resources. I don't know many of my friends who even have a fucking passport. See where I'm kind of going with this? When we talk about this Black Lives Matter, it really has to start with self, and it has to start at home. It really doesn't make a difference if you're wearing a fucking mask or a hoodie or something that says, hey, my son is black. Who gives a fuck? All you are doing identifying or setting a target upon one if this is what you think is happening to your kid. We're being systematically targeted. So I'm going to jump out and say, hey, I have a black kid. Leave my kids the fuck alone. Alright? Because that'll get you fucked up. Simple as that. You fuck with one of mine, I'm willing to accept whatever consequences come with it. But so much is put on, you know, the behavior, the attitude, or way of life of black men, African Americans, whatever you want to call us here in the United States Corporation of America. Hip hop culture, you know, it influences so much of the idea that other people have about black people. I tell you, this is some funny shit. I was at a gas station in the area. This particular gas station is flooded with African immigrants. Shout out to my Ghanaian refugees, or, you know, exchange students. I don't know exactly what the fuck to politically correctly call them. However, they work here, they're from Ghana, and there's fucking thousands of them. So I go in the store to get me, you know, my rolling papers and shit like that. And I see another black guy in there that I knew from school. Now, he's not the type of black guy like, I guess you would call me a black guy. I'm a black guy who can go in the barbershop, talk shit, hang out with the guys on the block, you know, do that type of thing. This is the type of black guy who thinks that shit is repulsive and he completely wants to stay away from those type of black people. So, you know, I speak to him. I say, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? You know, we still here. Keep it moving. Kind of like Stanley off of Friday. You know what I mean? So he gets to the counter and I'm cracking the fuck up because I already know what's about to happen. You know, I kind of frequent this store a lot. So the African guy behind the fucking counter, he was like, what's up, my nigga? My man looks at him and said, what did you say? And said, what's up with you, my nigga? I'm cracking the fuck up because I know that this asshole is boiling right now. You understand what I'm saying? However, in the defense of the guy from Ghana, it's all he gets to see. The hip-hop culture. It's what's influenced the world about the idea of black people. And let's be a little specific because this is not the broad version of hip-hop culture. This is gangster rap. Gangster rap. So, you know, we're not really recognized for our accolades of higher education. You know what I'm saying? But, fuck it. Free my nigga Tone. He just shot 5 fucking innocent people. Trying to shoot somebody who owed him $20. This is why people believe that if 100 black people are going to walk up to the fucking Capitol, it's going to be hell to pay. So yeah, they're going to shoot first and ask questions later. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time that we have to fucking refine ourselves. And I don't mean refine like I'm refining me. No, refinement. You have to clean some shit up on the inside. You, me, them, us, everybody. It's time that we take a look on our own backyard. And how is it that I can show my true black power? That I can show that my black life really matters. That I should be treated equally. That I should be, you know, the next fucking president of the United States. Well, guess what? We're going to get into that on the next side or the next section of Say What the Fuck I'm On podcast. It's your boy, the elephant in the room. I'll get right back to you. You know. Please make sure everybody who followed the live, make sure y'all drop your cash apps, man. Make sure y'all drop your cash apps. Make sure you drop your cash apps. You are eligible. You are eligible to win $25 free. We'll definitely talk back about that, you know, when we get back to the podcast. Good ass weed. Ladies and gentlemen, and we're back. It's your boy, the elephant in the room. It's the Say What the Fuck I Want podcast. And we're live from Instagram. Shout out to everybody on Instagram that, is following the podcast. We just ask everybody to send a like, a tag, a share. Drop your cash app. Drop your cash app. Make sure that you drop your cash app. Everybody drop your cash app. We are going to pick a random individual. Maybe two, maybe three. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's Friday and I'm feeling good as fuck. And I'm happy that you people are spending your Friday afternoon with me. Your late Friday morning. So make sure that you share this, that you tag your friends, you tag me in it, and you send your cash app. Somebody's getting some money today. So we wanted to get back to this topic of Black Lives Matter. This thing about Black Power and, all the good shit. Well, I thought about this. If it starts with character, if it starts with behavior, like how do we clean that up? Well, I've never known anybody, who would have some dirty laundry and just keep taking it out to the streets. Nah, you gotta do that laundry in the tub. If you can't get to the laundry, man. Fucking wash and dryer went down. You do that shit in the tub. You ain't asking nobody to wash your mom's panties. So, it's time for us to focus on us. It's pretty much that simple. I'm laughing, when I'm thinking about this shit, because a lot of these same people who are screaming Black Lives Matter, the rioting, the looting, the destruction of black-owned small businesses who don't have the insurance coverage to cover all the damage that black motherfuckers have done to their business. I had seen a video when there was some group of black teens or whatever who went and fucked up an entire mall. Somewhere in one of those Midwest states where they grow corn and fucking wheat. And I laughed to myself because everybody's screaming, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Well, every one of these stores that you just tore up is covered by millions of dollars of insurance. And you're only going to help the white man if that's your enemy. However, Al's Tire Shop, that's down there on 163rd. Motherfuckers fucked Al up, took his rims and his tires. Hey, Al was out of business. His kids didn't have a Christmas. His wife's back getting high again. She stressed the fuck out. And you Black Lives Matter motherfuckers are the ones who were tricking her. For 2 bags and taking her in the back of the fucking dumpster to get your dick sucked. Yes, I said it. Sports. I like sports. A lot of us like sports. I like to use sports as, my topic when it comes to this Black Lives Matter shit, because sports and entertainment seems to be where us black people have the biggest voice. I laugh at this shit. I did some number crunching. I did some figure digging and some searching. Alright? For all of you Black Lives Matter people who have nominated your special athletes to stand up and have something to say about Black lives. Alright? Do you know how much money is being made off of black athletes? How much of that money goes to black schools? Black communities? Not a whole lot. I mean, even for some of our fucking athletes who have made it big and made a couple dollars, not many of you do too much for your community. People say, well, just because I made it, I don't owe you anything. You're absolutely right. You don't owe anybody any money. Then you have the group of people who say, hey, money isn't everything. How about I get you a job? Man, it's fine too. But black lives don't really matter here in the United States of America. And I want you to understand this. And I want you to understand why. Ownership. Ownership. I'm going to say it again. Ownership. Why is that word so important? Let me tell you why. Because it's the very fucking reason why black people are treated the way that they are treated in this country, in any other country, that they don't own shit. It's funny to me that our Black Lives Matter movements are usually fucking led by some Democratic shout-out fuckface who just, yeah, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. But how many of our Black Lives Matter participants know that it was a Republican that freed slaves? It was a Republican who had the idea that if you gave these people who just built a fucking entire country the ability to build their own, we'd become a lot more prosperous. We can go into so many different theories as to why things didn't happen that way. Black Wall Street, Rosewood, go on all of that. But were you liberal, democratic, I have a dream, fuck faces who removed the idea of ownership from the minds of the people that you are now fighting for. How was that? Well, you went from Republican leadership and Abe Lincoln, who was telling you, hey, go out there and get that shit, into the handout, hey, if you do this for me, I'll take care of you, of John F. Kennedy. This is the world that we're in. We rather want a handout. We want to fucking, cry and make noise, be seen, attention. Until somebody comes to our rescue and says, hey, I'm going to save you. Fuck you. I don't want to be saved. I don't want to be in position to have to be saved. I want to be prepared. I want to level up. I want to be able to look a motherfucker like Donald Trump in the eye and say, hey, my money's just as long as yours, because that's what he respects. You really think it's about the color of your skin? No. They laugh at the color of your skin because of how stupid we have become. But in my last segment, we got to go to a quick break. In my last 15-minute segment, I'm going to show you people how to flex black power. So, it's your boy, the elephant in the room, and I'll get back with you on the flip side. Say what the fuck you want, podcast. Damn, I thought I had my shit on Do Not Disturb. People, if you're going to contact me through live. Send a request to join the live. You got questions, you got comments. You know what I mean? You want to kick it. You got something to say. You might got a question. So y'all make sure that everybody that tunes in to the live, the podcast, that y'all share this shit, man. Tag me in it. Send it to a friend, whatever. I mean, and drop your Cash App. Everybody who drops their Cash App today, you know what I'm saying, you will go into a drawing, you know what I'm saying, and you will have a chance to win $25 today. So drop your Cash Apps. Make sure y'all share the show. I told y'all last year, man, 2020, you know that Say What the Fuck I Want podcast is coming, and now we here. You know, I'm just giving it to y'all live, man, so y'all can see what the fuck is going on. Follow me on Anchor, follow me on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe and y'all like that shit, man. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. And the more participation I get from y'all, man, it's only going to get liver. So fuck with your boy. You know, we're get back into this last segment, and you know, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank y'all for y'all support. Yes, we're back. It's your boy, the elephant in the room, man. Say What the Fuck I Want podcast. This is my last 15-minute segment. You know, I'm getting kicked the fuck out the building. It's pretty expensive to rent around here. So I thought about some shit, because one thing that we all can relate to is sports and entertainment when it comes to blacks. I'm from an area where, you know, sports are very, 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 very relevant. And, you know, all of my friends, all of my buddies, you know, they're big fans of the big schools, the Dukes, the North Carolinas, the Miami Hurricanes, the Florida States, the USCs. So, you know, I decided to go take a look at how much money these schools make by airing, you know, basketball games, football games, and shit like that. And per conference. This is just, you know, some little shit that I just dug up. The SEC, you know, we're not just talking about Alabama, who pretty much has a very, very, very exclusive piece of this contract that the SEC has with ESPN. Of $300 million. All right. And I did this research based about college basketball, not football. And I'm going to tell you why I chose basketball over football. So now we'll move down to the ACC, who's getting dished out $1.86 billion a year. The Big Ten, $2.64 billion. The Big 12, $2.6 billion. Pac-12, Pac-12, $3 billion. The old Big East, if you guys remember the Big East, $126 million. The AAC, the American Athletic Conference, that's the thing that kind of came together after the Big East broke up, $83 million. It's a lot of fucking money. In the midst of this, I want to say congratulations to fucking Deion Sanders, who has taken over as head coach at Jackson State, who was a part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Division 1A football program. Who, by the way, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, I don't believe, even made the list for conferences that were getting any type of money generated for televised or radio games. So I sit there. In the midst of all this Black Lives Matter, in the midst of all of our blacks, you know, wanting to flex and, you know, help out for the cause, I can't understand for the life of me how at a time that the country is being affected by COVID, when you have your high school, when you have your collegiate and your professional athletes all screaming Black Lives Matter, all of these motherfuckers have their fist in the air. Black power. And the biggest headline that Deion Sanders could get is the number 4 prospect JUCO transfer commits to Deion. Why is this important? Well, it's important because in the midst of a COVID season where the NCAA has allowed this transfer portal, these guys can just bounce, get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? I cannot understand why these athletes, their parents, their support groups, their NAACPs are still encouraging these kids to bring more money to Duke University, Stanford, Harvard. In my opinion, because of this COVID season, Deion Sanders should have a Nick Saban type of roster going into next season. But we all know this is not going to happen. It's the good old boy system. When it comes to basketball, though, especially in our NBA, it seems that the players have a little more say-so, a little more control, a little more influence in what goes out to the media. That's very, very interesting. Got guys like LeBron James, who's going to be iconic for raising his fist saying Black Power, outside of his incredible basketball career. So when I look at, Black Lives Mattering, when I look at how we can mold our young athletes to be iconic and not just being athletes, but, our social leaders, I thought of something. The most popular basketball player, high school basketball player in my area, and by the way, he's the number one fucking basketball player in the entire world. DeJuan Wagner Jr. DJ Wagner. If you do not know who DJ Wagner is, you fucking YouTube him right now, subscribe to his page, and like that kid because he's the shit. Alright? That's what you do. Now, DJ, he's, I was around at a time when his dad was the biggest thing in the fucking world. High school basketball. And going to a Camden High School basketball game, it was like incredible. It was like going to see fucking Jordan play. You couldn't sit anywhere. Half the games were fuck half. Damn near every game since DeJuan Wagner Sr. was in the 7th grade at William Mills Middle School in Camden. The games, the gyms, they were packed. You couldn't get in them. And the same thing is happening with this kid. He's fucking awesome. And he's a great kid outside of being a hell of an athlete. Also in that class, I believe you have, is LeBron James Jr. in that class? Iconic kid who has an iconic father. So I thought about this. That class of 2023. Everybody has already speculated. Hey, DJ's going to Kentucky. Mikey's going to North Carolina. Jalen Lewis is going to Duke. Matt Booley, he's going to Arizona. Everybody's made these predictions and said, this, that, or the third. The thing I don't like about you fuckers is that here you have a bunch of 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids that constantly, every day, up my fucking YouTube feed, I see Black Lives Matter type people instigating beef with 16-year-old kids because of who we all think is number one. So you play the divide and conquer game with the minds of kids through popularity. Fuck you. I propose a different mindset because black lives do matter to me. I'm black. And hey, I got black kids. Captain Obvious. I have a different proposal for black lives and showing. in most cases, these kids that we're mentioning are going to be one and done kids. They're probably only going to do 1 year of college. And they're going to the NBA. Bidding, God forbid, any serious injuries or anything like that. So, this is what I came up with. Your top 5 players right now for the class of 2023. DeJuan Wagner. Jaden Lewis. Matt Booley. Mikey Williams and Bayfall. Now we just broke down numerically the type of money that all of these schools are getting to air their basketball games. And I'm sure everybody is just dying and waiting to see DJ connect with Calipari like his dad. Everybody's waiting for Mikey Williams to connect with Roy Williams. And everybody's waiting for this kid to go with that guy. And this kid to go with Coach K. Well, what would happen if these 5 kids were not put against one another to be enemies? What if the mind state was, hey, how about you 5 kids be iconic? And let's not forget LeBron James Jr., who's in that class. Okay? Let's just say these kids say, we want to be iconic. And in 2 years, instead of committing to Duke, instead of committing to Kentucky, instead of committing to UCLA, Arizona, the 5 of us are going to commit to Jackson State. I know all of you are saying, like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? Well, hey, who's going to want to watch North Carolina basketball? Because if Black Lives Matter, we know that these 5 kids are going to be fucking millionaires after 1 year of college. The type of money that they're going to bring into any institution, if the 5 of them decided to say, we're going to be the new Avengers, the new Fab 5, and we're going to take over college basketball, that would shake the fucking system. It would shake Vegas. It would shake college basketball. That the Southwestern Athletic Conference has the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 top high school basketball player on their fucking roster. It's never been done. Show me. And watch the influence that these kids, those 5 kids, those 6 kids could have. These are high character kids. They're not bad kids. They're not kids whose names are mixed up when, gangster hip hop rap. These are kids who have dreams, aspirations, goals, work ethics. They get up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to perfect their craft. This isn't something that's easy to do. Because if 100 NBA basketball players walked up to the Capitol, I guarantee you, not one would have died. You see how this thing kind of works? So I'm starting my hashtag. My Black Fab 5. If Black Lives Matter, let's create enough controversy. Fuck it. I might even die behind this because, this would shake our fucking economy. So that's my new hashtag, the Black Fab 5. I want the top 5 players in the class of 2023 to play basketball at the same university. And it'd be at HBCU. Let's give back to black. Let's refine ourselves. Let's refine character. Black Lives Matter. You're going to be rich anyway. I really appreciate every last one of y'all who came out to kick it with me today. Want to say what the fuck I want podcast. It's your boy, the elephant in the room. Mr. Did he just say that? Yes, the fuck I did. Y'all know me. Y'all know what time it is. All of y'all who show love on the podcast, man, make sure that y'all drop your cash app. Share this joint, tag somebody. Make sure that you guys drop your cash app. I appreciate the love. Thanks for stopping by. We're gonna do this thing again, man. Look for the post, look for the contest. It's your boy, the elephant in the room. Mr. Did he just say that? Yes, the fuck I did. I love y'all, man. Thank you.